It looks like Exless is going to become Soulless, and many others will follow suit in the upcoming chapters, because you're not going to tell me that after hundreds upon hundreds of chapters of build-up, that Shigaraki is going to go down like this. Now, I'll be honest, it would be quite the twist if, after all the stuff that's happened with the whole My Villain Academia arc, to just setting up Shigaraki as the main baddie of the story, and seeing him go down like this, would definitely be quite a shock. It'd be a twist. I mean, I know heroes are supposed to win in the end, but having them win before the villain is able to showcase their powers is definitely something I think none of us would expect. But I want to be honest with you, I know Horikoshi is known for his twist on cliches, etc. He loves doing that type of stuff, but I don't think this is one of those times. I just do not think that after so much effort that Horikoshi himself has put into Shigaraki's character, that he would have Shigaraki not even be able to showcase what he really is capable of with whatever the doctor is truly giving him. All these different quirks, or, one for all for one, etc. You don't really know what he's capable, and I think that, after all this, the fans want to see it, and I think Horikoshi probably wants to draw it. I doubt, after everything, that he is down for the count. I'm just gonna be honest. So, the question is how is Shigaraki going to get back up to be able to save the League of Villains, save his comrades, save his, family, everybody? What's he going to do, and how is he going to do it? Obviously, it has something to do with All for One. Horikoshi deliberately put in a final panel of this chapter showcasing All for One. Now, the reason why this is very important, for a variety of reasons, is because we know for a fact the reason why Shigaraki is here right now is thanks to All for One. All for One has calculated and planned this very moment for Shigaraki to be able to come into power and be the next Lord of Evil, the ruler, the greatest evil that the world has ever seen, and, Izuku is going to have to try to stop him, the world is going to have to try to stop him. This has been a careful plan for a very long time. So, obviously, showing All for One right there is symbolic for that. If Shigaraki does indeed fall here, then everything that All for One stood for is gone at that very moment. Now, let's be honest here. All for One has been in a mysterious state for a very long time now. We know for a fact that All for One, in some ways, is still capable of using his quirks, his mini quirks. We don't really even know the full extent of what All for One is truly capable of. We don't really know every little quirk he has at his disposal. There might be very niche quirks that only activate at certain individual times. I mean, let's think about how, the whole situation with the stockpile quirk was that mixed with, One for All, and how it was just able to transfer a quirk to another person. That's something that was very niche. And when you think about it, All for One might have something very similar to that. And a couple of theories that popped up in my head while reading this chapter and just thinking about it, there might be a quirk that All for One has to where it only activates with someone very dear to him, someone that he probably has selected or whatever is about to die, and he has a chance of either swapping places with that person, or he has a chance of giving them life, bestowing the remaining life he has to that person, or maybe, entering into the body and mixing as one. Who really knows? The point I'm trying to say is that All for One definitely has a lot of quirks, and we know for a fact that he has hinted at the fact that he has some form of quirk that can observe outside of his prison cell, because he knew what was going on with One for All inside of Izuku. He had an idea something was happening with the whole singularity and the conversation inside. All for One was aware of that. So he does have the ability to be linked with people on the outside. So what's stopping him from being linked with Shigaraki? Been able to keep an eye on him, watch him for a very long time now to see kind of where he is at and keep him safe, etc. That's a big thing that many need to, think about, is that it's very likely that for, Horikoshi to show All for One like that, All for One might initiate a prison break. For a long time now, we always thought that it was going to be Shigaraki and Gigan and all of them working together to break out the villains, Stain, All for One, Muscular, countless other villains that have been showcased throughout this series, finally being able to leave the prison. And it might not actually be Shigaraki that does this. It might be All for One that actually takes the initiative and breaks out. I mean, we know Kuro is there as well. I mean, we know for a fact he is their Black Mist, so he's definitely able to, help All for One if he's somehow able to break out of his cell. So there's a lot of things to really factor into this, and I really doubt, for just the significance of this moment, that All for One won't try to do something. Now, another thing we need to think about as well is the fact that we need to really take a hard look at the fact that All For One right now, did he see this coming? Is this something that he planned to happen for a very long time now? You know, has this been crafted and placed into his overall scheme, his plan to build up Shigaraki as the next villain? Did he expect this to happen? Or is this something that's completely against his plans that he never thought was actually possible? There's a lot of questions you can also think about when it comes to the chapter. But there is something that needs to be discussed, and that is the Doctor and what he said as well. And this is a very fascinating moment. The Doctor himself literally says that, oh, you know, Shigaraki is the boy. I live for this very moment. I live for the dream of the Lord of Evil. You know, I've dreamed for this very moment to protect this boy and make him something great. You know, he basically expresses that he cares deeply for Shigaraki. And it's a very shocking moment, honestly, for the character. And you're like, holy crap, so he wasn't just using Shigaraki. It does seem like he does care about Shigaraki deep down and wants to see him succeed. Which brings up other questions I have with All For One. See, as I said already in this video, All For One is probably going to be the major key to probably saving Shigaraki. And this is a question many are going to have. Is All For One going to actually help out Shigaraki and have him replace him? Or is he going to steal everything from Shigaraki, build upon him, and make it to where he takes his power for himself, and he's able to rule once again? There is a lot of theories about this, and for a long time now, All For One is shrouded in mystery. You don't really know if he actually really does have a heart or not. It appears that deep down he does care about his comrades and he does manipulate them, but it does seem like he cares about them to a certain extent. And I do feel like that probably extends to the Doctor and it extends also to Shigaraki. So I think, in the grand scheme of things, I do believe that All For One, he will do something very hero-like. He'll probably sacrifice himself and save Shigaraki to once again warp Shigaraki even more, to say a villain had to save this boy, and a villain once again will come in and save this boy, and will be the one to make it to where he's able to do what he wants to do, help him with his objective, lay down his life. And, you know, obviously, we always thought that maybe All might be the one to do that, but it actually turned out to be maybe All For One that lays down his life for the sake of Shigaraki. Now, that would be an excellent twist that I think many could get behind if it does happen. But okay, enough with that. Let's actually talk about a few other details, and that is Mirko and her whole situation with her body. She is not in good shape. There is a couple of good things about this, though. I know that she's in really bad shape, but she is obviously going to be getting moved out of that area because she no longer has the capacity to fight. Her overall limbs, all of her limbs are pretty much completely messed up. She's bleeding all over the place. There's so much loss of, blood loss. She really can't do much at this point. Like, she literally is just running on adrenaline. There's nothing else left. So, I don't think that she's going to be able to stick around now, and they're probably going to transport her out of this situation. So, if something does go sideways, and All For One, let's say, does appear, and Shigaraki gets back up, Mirko is probably going to survive this ordeal. And there's been fan theories for a long time now, which I'm not going to take any credit for, but there's been fan theories for a while now that Mirko could potentially teach Izuku, because with her overall abilities of kicking and how Izuku's kind of diving in a little bit more to kicking, you know, Mirko could be a teacher to Izuku, teaching him how to use a different type of fighting style, and with her kind of probably needing to retire after this, I mean, let's be honest, she has taken so much damage, she's probably going to have to retire, unless there is a user of a quirk that's able to regenerate her limbs and heal her completely. I mean, we do know that Aries capable of this, but she's not ready. She's definitely not ready for that possibility. So the point is Mirko's probably going to have to retire. And even though she's going to have to retire, the world is going to be in absolute crap. So there's going to have to be someone to help out the next generation, and most likely all these major heroes at the top are about to die. So Mirko's probably going to be the last few remaining. That's probably going to have to tell the others what to do, exactly what happened, etc. And I feel like she might teach Izuku. So Mirko is probably going to survive this ordeal, but she's probably never going to return to being an active hero, which is kind of sad to think about, unless she's able to miraculously heal. But that gets into the next point. Everybody else is on the chopping block. Even Endeavor himself is on the chopping block, because they're all right there. All the major heroes are there. Heroes we have seen for a while now have literally just entered in close proximity to Shigaraki. And we all know, after witnessing the My Villain Academia arc, how deadly Shigaraki's destruction quirk is. How he literally has an AoE how he could place an AoE, active AoE around him, and it just destroys everything. I mean, look what happened to Redestro. The man literally lost his legs just from, like, an AoE attack that Shigaraki didn't even touch him. Like, he didn't put his hands on Redestro, but Redestro lost his legs. So you gotta think about this. You have it to where these heroes are super close to Shigaraki, and if Shigaraki somehow awakens, like, next chapter, or All For One comes in, awakens him, or something else happens, they're all dead. Like, they're all going to die, because there is just no way any of those heroes that have to stay on the ground are going to be able to compete with that. The only one that has the possibility of really surviving this is Ryukyu and also Endeavor, from what I can see. I mean, I guess you could factor in that maybe, you know, Aizawa can do something, but overall, I do think that Aizawa is also on the chopping block too, because I feel like it's going to be a retelling of what happened in the first arc, major arc of the story, with Aizawa being slammed into the ground by a Nomu, and then Shigaraki almost disintegrating him, and I want to talk about that. So, we, once again, get to see the capabilities of Aizawa and how important he is to the fight against villains. He's able to completely deactivate the Nomus where they're not able to actually use their quirks whatsoever. So, you know, these Nomus quirkless, they're just like, they're strong, but they can't really do much else. So these heroes are able to easily overpower them. But this leads into another major detail that I think many have forgotten. Even though Aizawa is obviously capable of, you know, making it so their quirk is disabled, we know stuff like the Nomu that All Might fought at the beginning of the story, that Nomu was still able to power through Aizawa's quirk, because it just had built-in strength. So what's stopping someone like Shigaraki, or even All For One, that actually has built-in enhancement quirks that really won't probably get deactivated whatsoever, which can make it to where even if Aizawa disables a bunch of their quirks, or their quirk in general, their strength is so unstoppable that they're actually able to just power through it and just kill Aizawa. So that is another thing to factor in, is that even Aizawa, even though he might be able to stop certain villains for a certain amount of time, he's even on the chopping block. And I'm going to be honest with you, Mike is dead. Like, he's a dead man walking. Like, he is straight up, if there's anyone that is going to die, like, if there's only one character that is going to die in these upcoming chapters, Mike is going to die. It's 100%, I am 100% saying it right now, that Mike will definitely die. And the reason why is because this chapter was death flag, death flag, death flag, death flag. Even more so than Hawks. What Hawks has done, what we have seen, is nothing is in comparison to what just happened with Mike. And the reason why I say that is because Mike had a full-on emotional backstory. He was thinking about the emotions of what his friends meant to him, how he wants to go back to those happy days, how he wants to pay back the villains for what they did to Aizawa and also Shirakumo. I mean, it's very clear that Mike has putting up some major death flags. That is a huge death flag. That is like death flag 101 right there. Like, that is what you see. If you look up the definition of a death flag in a manga series, you will see Mike right there front and center, because that is what that means. So, Mike, he dead. He's straight dead. So, the question is, will Mike be the only one to die? Will a bunch of others die? Will Aizawa be able to survive to see his best friend die and be left alone? There is so many questions I have, but there's definitely going to be a lot of people exiting this series in the upcoming chapters. But how it is done is, like I said, up in the air. Is Shigaraki going to do it? Is Gigan going to do it? Is All For One going to do it? Yeah. So, anything else to really discuss? For the most part, not really. I mean, all the other Nomus got handled. I mean, all the heroes pretty much ganged up on them, and they weren't really able to do much, because, I mean, they were not fully awake. They weren't fully awake like, you know, how High End was, like the original High End that Endeavor fought, you know, when he had his debut. So, none of these High Ends are really in the same league as that one, because, like I said, they're just not fully awoken. They got forcefully awakened, and they're just very, very weak right now, so they're not able to really go at their maximum capabilities. So, it makes sense why they were easily able to be overpowered, and Endeavor going in, just finishing them off. I really like that, seeing the heroes work together, but obviously, things are going to start twisting and going very south very quickly, very soon. But I want to leave it at that. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoy my content, please subscribe. If you like this video, please leave a like. And if you want to get notified whenever I upload a video, please click the bell icon down below. And with that, Chibi out.